Hello and welcome. I already see some people tuning in. So, greetings from Uganda, greetings from Central Florida. It is as classic childhood reading literature, Winnie the Pooh would say, it is a blustery day outside. It is kind of icky, for being honest. It's raining today, which is normally sunny over here, nice and warm. So I appreciate everyone tuning in. For those of you who may just be catching this and wondering what this is, so as it says on the screen, this is an Amazon Ads Q&A. So I am putting these on, I want to say consistently, because I've been consistent for, I believe, about 3 weeks now, 2 to 3 weeks now. In coming live. So my goal is to be able to come live from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can calculate that in your local time zone to be able to answer your Amazon ad questions. And again, if you don't know who I am and you're wondering why in the world I'm qualified to answer Amazon ad questions, so I am the co-founder, along with my husband, of an Amazon ad agency, and that is our bread and butter, and that is what I do. And I absolutely love these Q&A segments because it allows me to help you all. So we're getting people listening from all over. So greetings from Pakistan and greetings from the Philippines. Well, thank you so much. I know it is very late your time, Philippines, and also across the world. So I appreciate all of you all joining in. So yeah, to kick it off, the way this works is if anyone has an Amazon advertising question, you drop it in the chat and I will pull it up on screen and we will make sure to get your questions answered. And then providing how many questions we get in the chat, we should last couple weeks. We've had enough time for me to sit here for about an hour, going back and forth and answering your questions. But if time permitting, or if we don't get any questions, then we'll wrap it up a little bit sooner than that. So yeah, anyone listening in, if you got any questions, and we're definitely the holidays are quickly approaching. I know it's a particularly a U.S. holiday as far as Thanksgiving goes, but that definitely launches us into Black Friday, Cyber Monday, which gets us all off to a head start with Q4. So now is sort of the slump time. We are seeing a lot of conversion rates go down, a lot of traffic to the platform go down. It is highly dependent on the account, but just for all of you listening in who have not gone through sort of, this kind of pre-holiday weirdness time, if you've gone through, the Prime Day in October, Prime Day in July, then that there's kind of like that weird slump that happens beforehand where conversion rates are a little down. A lot of people are looking for the deals. They're holding off until the Black Friday deals hit. That is completely normal. It's definitely something to watch and definitely something we are rapidly adjusting a lot of ad budgets and things prior to, because as sales slump, if you continuously spend the same, then your total A cost is going to be going up. So do expect a bunch of performance swings. This is a great question. So I appreciate you typing this up in the chat. We'll see how we can answer rank if a keyword. We are running an exact match campaign on that keyword. Yes. So keyword rankings are determined by quite a few factors, but one of them being the sales velocity through that particular search term. So leveraging advertising to make sure you are converting on that particular search to kind of what I call like adding to the pot in a way. So adding on top of potentially whatever organic sales that you have on that keyword is going to help you rank. So you're doing it exactly right. If we're running exact match campaign on the keyword, keep doing that. I would say the two things you really can, kind of look is the goal would be to say, can I get more sales through this particular campaign? So more sales would be increasing visibility, which is in the chance of like increasing your bids. Or the second thing is that if this budget is running out, if you're running out of budget, then you would want to make sure that you potentially stay in budget all day to be able to get more clicks. Both of those things will increase your ad spend on this and potentially increase ACoS. But if the goal is to rank, then that's really what you want to do. You want to increase your visibility there. Also, if you have a you can leverage sometimes placement percentage adjustments to try and get better top of search visibility on that campaign. That might be something to check as well. So hopefully that answers your question. If you have a follow-up comment to my answer, feel free to type it in the chat. Speaking of budgets, just so you know, we have a very I don't know if I would consider it unique, because I've talked with a lot of really good advertisers and they oftentimes have a very similar approach when it comes to campaigns. But I'm a little bit wary of the completely run campaign budgets open all the time, every single day, never let a campaign run out of budget. If you're letting the campaign run out of budget, you are losing sales and you're a terrible advertiser. The thing that's not really factored into that conversation is, what does that strategy, how does that have an impact on your profitability and total ACoS? And that is something that is not in the answer to that question is it's a really sort of nuanced and slightly complicated answer, meaning just because you increase budgets doesn't always mean that total sales increase. But what is the impact of that? So just so you know, it is filmed, being edited, is going to be scheduled to be released soon. I have an entire sort of rant video kind of going over budgets and why increasing campaign budgets may actually make you unprofitable in some circumstances. So look to see that coming on our YouTube channel soon. Here is a great question. Nick asked, hey, Elizabeth, what solution do you use for PPC management, or we do it manually? So it is kind of a hybrid approach, meaning we have, it's not like a fully automated solution, but it's not fully manually either. It does currently sort of run off of bulk sheets. However, we are in the process, and I'm so excited about this update. It is one that I've wanted for a really long time. We are in the process internally of sort of automating some of the data pulls and pushes when it comes to our bid optimizations. That's actually just gonna, and really the two things that we're focused on as an agency, and I don't see this changing in the near future, is that two things we're trying to do is, can we be more effective with what we're doing, and or can we be more efficient with what we're doing when it comes to best practices. So I mean, as far as us, it's an internal system. Again, we're working on efficiency. We definitely have effectiveness really dialed in, which is why we continually use our internal systems. If you are personally looking for a bid management solution, it really does depend on what makes sense for you, meaning how you prefer to manage. Meaning there are some people who are like, I just want to set a target ACoS. I want the whole automation thing to run. I don't want to have to think about it. I don't want to have to like get super crazy with like my bid settings. And then there's some people who like, give me all the automation tools. I want all of the above, please. And so those two solutions are going to look different. One solution, as far as like putting in sort of a target ACoS a little bit, there's still a lot of really robust features to the tool, but it's not like set everything super incrementally, is Ad Badger. Ad Badger, I think, has one of the most solid bid algorithms out there. Again, if you want a more, I don't want to say hands off, because they're really knee deep and like data driven there, but it's not going to be like set up every single tiny little automation rule. Ad Badger is a good one for that. If you want more of a set up every little tiny automation rule, and I'm just really looking for that bid solution, and I'm not trying to leverage other things, like I'm not looking for pulling my own data into my database, or looking at, say, DSP connections, or like maybe a little bit more nuance to that, then Scale Insights is a really good one. We don't use it personally, but I've heard really good things from a lot of friends. It's more of a, I would say, I don't know if you use the word like compact solution. If you are looking for something that you can use to do analytics, do again a little bit more of that incrementality on the bid adjustments, but you want kind of like a lot of other sort of like data analytics. If you're super like deep into the data analytics and you want a lot of options for that, that IntentWise is a really great option for that. Someone else said Perpetua is my favorite tool to balance between it, set it and forget it, and manual bid options. Yes, Perpetua is a really good tool. The reason why we're not super thrilled with, or I want to say super thrilled, Perpetua can get a little bit sticky sometimes in their budget adjustment settings, and we found that sometimes that kind of hinders like ranking strategies. And then the other thing that we found is that you have to make all. Last time I checked, maybe Yoni, maybe you can add a follow-up question, but I think from my understanding is if you can't make adjustments in the interface, you have to make all adjustments through the tool. I prefer tools where you can either make the adjustments, if I'm in Campaign Manager, I'm like, this optimization needs to happen. I would prefer to be able to make it then and there in the Campaign Manager versus having to like go back. But obviously you think it's I know a lot of good people who use it. So yeah, Perpetual is a great option. You're saying between manual bidding optimizations and again, more leveraged algorithms is a good one. Cool. Let's see. Yeah, so Freddie has a question about Google traffic. That one is not my area of expertise. You're asking about landing pages. I'm not really to be honest, that's not something I'm 100% sure how to answer that question. Feel free to reach out to me privately, though, because I know some good people who run Google Ads. I'm more than happy to connect you. All right, here's a good question. For a newly launched product with campaign, should we run in the first week? They can give us more sales in the honeymoon period. I did a live with Helium 10. Gosh, when was it? Yesterday? Tuesday. Tacos Tuesday. And I pretty much said the word relevancy ad nauseum. I probably, if you took a shot every time I said keyword relevancy or highly relevant keywords, you would have a bad Thursday. But that's really that is our super focus when it comes to product launches, is you really want to get super specific with where your exact shoppers are searching. So to do that, you focus on what we call quote relevant keywords, meaning keywords that specifically describe the products. If you want like a really extensive, and also I think an SOP on how we do our keyword research, there is a video on our YouTube channel that I do, like it's like an hour, and I like preach relevancy at nauseum and actually do like screen walkthroughs as far as like this is actually how you search for relevancy. But so that's what I would say is just search for particularly relevant keywords to your product. Typically speaking, you should have better conversion rates if you have good keyword relevancy. And then I would start those specifically in sponsored products, exact match, high bids. Your goal in the beginning is just to get visibility on the products and to start generating sales. That's where I would start. All right. Here's a good question from Sam. When adding a new variation to the parent listing, does it hurt ranking? I have a parent listing with child variations. I would be adding 5 more variations to the parent listing. I don't believe it should. The impact on if it's going to hurt ranking is going to be the impact on the conversion rates. So if you add all of those, like say 5 more variations, sometimes that's super helpful because people have additional, like, they have more options to choose from. Maybe it's more colors, more sizes. I'm not sure the product. That would actually help. However, if you end up getting those 5 more variations and people just get a little bit confused and so conversion rates go down, then that would be where you potentially would have issues with ranking. Good news is, great strategy if you have variation listings. If you can find any relevant searches to those specific variations. So I always use the word cup, but I'm going to do it again. So if you had, say, the cup product and say I have like a blue cup and I'm noticing a bunch of red cup keywords, so then I launch a red cup variation, and then I can then now advertise my new red cup on those additional searches, because now I have a product that is relevant, that works for those additional searches. Then what ends up happening, because ranking is again determined on a per listing level, all of those additional traffic sources, again, from like all those additional, like, I don't know if you call them like buckets of searches, shopper searches, would then be funneled into the listing. And then you should actually see rankings improve from that. Now, how much that's going to work and if it's going to hurt you is going to be determined, like, is there additional searches? Like, are you tapping into other markets with these variations, or are you looking at the same market and simply giving them more options? That will kind of be the determining factor as far as like how much impact you're going to have from this. And then if it's going to be hurting, it's going to depend on the conversion rates. Oh, wait, we already did that one. Yep, Perpetua, good option there as well. Oh, here's a hard one to get through. Hey, Elizabeth, having a hard time adding negation in campaigns as mostly we are seeing deaths by 1,000 cuts. I looked at the possibility of negating by looking at the main keyword, which is included in all, but the main keyword couldn't add it as a negative. What do you think would be the solution for this situation? I would look to Michael from Ad Badger. He has a phenomenal process for this. It is called the N-gram analysis. I wish I thought of it. It's genius. I didn't. But I would look up, if you go to YouTube, Google Ad Badger, so like the Ad Badger podcast, and you look at the N-gram analysis. I think that's a podcast that I was a guest appearance on, but that will be a really good one, because yes, this is something that happens. So death by 1,000 cuts means you got a whole lot of search terms and you got like 1 click and no orders, 2 clicks, and you're like, I can't do anything with this, and yet the ad spend for these is astronomical. So I would check that. It's a whole process, but it's a phenomenal one, and he has a spreadsheet that is attached to that. All right. Sam says, my VA is saying we want to treat the new variation as a new launch and price them very low. Possibly. The difficulty with launching things as variations is the fact that you are like, they're not standalone listings. So for every single, say like organic spot and then ad spot. So if these products share keywords with your original products, then you know, like, do you want to advertise the new ones that are a little bit untested, or do you want to keep advertising old ones? You get into those kind of issues. So the information I give you before about like looking at other sort of like like market share that you can get for these new variations will be a good one. The only thing that I would say is looking at the new launches and pricing them very low. You want to keep in mind the perceived shopper value of having some of the variations be like a super low price point and then other ones being higher, right? Because then that could potentially funnel traffic to all the low price variations. Now, if that's what you want to do, then sure, go ahead, do it. I don't think it's a bad strategy. With a lot of things, it's almost kind of like test it, but I would just be careful of, because they're going to be viewed alongside all of your existing variations. What is that going to look like from a shopper perspective? That's what I would want to keep in mind. Okay, so Yoni was saying about Perpetua, spot on. It can mess with the software if you make campaign manager adjustments. Yeah, so it's really with any tool. It's just understanding the tool, understanding the limitations. But to your point, I think there's some, like really great options with it. So, we use tools as well that were like, we kind of like this, and, this other stuff could be better. But it's just understanding, the limitations in the tools. Ryan has a great question. Any good PPC audit tools? Looking for something I can use every quarter to tighten my campaigns and be more efficient. Been relying on others too much for this. Great question. So we have what I think is a phenomenal audit. But yes, that is something that we offer as sort of, an option for people who are coming to us like interested in service. I can tell you the way that we do our audit, and it might give you some interesting insights. I would say in the beginning, like, I'm trying to think if there's any really good audit tools. None that I'm really aware of. There's great software out there that does analytics. We have one that we use a lot and absolutely love. It's called K-pop. We've been with them for over a year now. And our team at this point, like, honestly couldn't live without them. So there are some ways that you can like leverage software that has analytics in it to be able to do like your kind of audit process. I would say, like, if you have a VA or other people on your team, honestly, some of the best ways is like, okay, what information do I need to see to be able to make an informed decision on making sure that I'm performing well in my advertising? And then what I would do is, you could put together your own spreadsheets, Or, I mean, again, if you have analytics tools, you can pull data. It's most times with audits, it's you're simply doing a much more deep dive into the account and then trying to like pull out information to help you, again, just make better, but you're spending more time on it. I would say if at all possible, I would look at, maybe having some other team members or VAs be able to put together the reports and then have someone like you who's like more high level be the one to do the analysis on the reports. That's the way that it makes it a little bit more scalable. I mean, as far as what we look at, so we actually we call it like our top-down approach. It's like a high level down to the weeds type of approach. And so what we'll do is we'll look at trends on the account level, looking at it from a year-over-year perspective, a month-over-month perspective. And then what we'll do is we'll then translate that into a product level. So we say, okay, these are the trends that are now happening on the account level. Now that we know the trends, what products are contributing to those trends? We have 2 custom reports we use for that analysis. And then we also have one of our reports aggregates everything. Now, this took me about 4 years to find somebody to help me build it. But we like kind of like pull all the data for all of the ads on a per product level and then say, okay, looking at a high level, like overall metrics, being sales, spend, and what we call ad spend efficiency, meaning like total ACoS, ad sale percentage, and the ad conversion rate versus the organic conversion or the unit session percentage. And they're like, okay, where are the products that are hurting? And then let's go take that analysis and then use that to dive into our ads. That's kind of a very brief overview of our process, which we found super helpful. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm not really aware of any good audit tools, kind of plug and play into the account. It's really just kind of understanding what information do I need to know to be able to make informed decisions, and then figuring out the most efficient way to get that data. After the keyword got ranked, what is the best strategy to maintain ranking? Retain what it took you to get there. So if at all possible, if you can stay profitable, or you can afford to maintain sort of like the ads that helped you rank, I would say keep doing it. I don't know if I'd pull back on it. If you want to, pull back a little bit, my sort of favorite and most scalable approach, there's a little bit more manual, tedious, really in the weeds approach you can use, but the best way is like, okay, I'm already ranked on this keyword, I need to pull back on it. What you would do is you would say, all right, so my ACoS right now for my ranking keyword is like 35%. Can I target a 33%, a 34%? I like to go super incremental with it, like 33%, 32%, like not even down from like a 35 to a 30. And you're just like, all right, can I slowly lower my bids and like get a little bit better ACoS? And if you're doing this strategy, watch the rankings is what I would do. But if you can afford to maintain it, I would say maintain. Ryan said adbadger.com. Yep, they are a great option. Here's a good question. Alex is asking, how would you approach a full funnel strategy? Yeah, that is a great question. So we really look at it through the lens of what doesn't make sense to build from a sales perspective. So what I found over the years is that a lot of times people will, they'll get like the quote best account, like the robust, the all the above best strategy, right? They're like, all right, I gotta run defensive strategies, gotta have like my main keywords and single keyword campaigns and running these things aggressively, and then I also have to make sure I'm running display ads, and I'm also going to make sure I'm running sponsored brand ads and all the above, right? You can find all of these lists of, maybe we should put one out as well, as far as like, oh, here's all the campaign structure you must run, right? Which makes total sense if you're only looking at the ads. You're like, I want to do the absolute best I possibly can with the ads. What happens when that particular product is only driving 2% of your total sales volume? It makes no sense for me to run that kind of ad structure. And the reason being is just as if the more campaigns you add, the more keywords you add, the more ad types you add, the more ad spend you are going to have on that particular product. So how we would run it is we start in sponsored product ads. I think I just put out a video clip today on LinkedIn of like, I don't care how big of an ad account you have. I don't care how big your ad spend is. You know, if you're spending 10K, if you're spending 20K, 100K, even a million K, the majority of your ad spend is always going to be in sponsored products. I don't see that changing. And in fact, fun fact, all of the accounts that I've seen where those ratios, they're spending more in sponsored brand ads than they are in sponsored product ads, like 70, I think all the audits I did, it was like 75% or more of ad spend was on sponsored brand ads. Every single one of those accounts was struggling with ranking. Every single one. Even though they were video ads. So, I mean, I would say I would start in sponsored product ads. I would start with my high relevancy keywords. You know, you're like building that very compacted, intentional launch strategy. And then from there, we're layering on like our automatic campaigns, right? Like maybe a low bid auto and then maybe a little bit higher bid autos, right? We're layering on our lower bid broad match strategies. We're layering on additional phrase match strategies, right? And then we're like, okay, so we also have ASIN targeting. All right, so let's build out those and then you just keep working your way up the list depending on what the total sales, what makes sense from an ad spend perspective is what I would say. So I don't know. I mean, feel free to ask a follow-up question. If that answer was like unsatisfactory, I can give you like, all right, here's a whole list of like round the laundry list stuff. But I would say I would care more about how does this spend impact the account and the account growth than I would say like I have to do this. Because if you run everything at full throttle, guarantee you that account's going to be unprofitable. Here's a good question. Since we're in the fourth quarter and PPC costs are up, what did the costs go back to normal in January? Typically speaking, yes. Actually, you can, Helium 10 actually is a great tool now. You can look at the they have the suggested bids, and you can now actually look at suggested bids over time, which can be super helpful. Again, take all suggested bids with a grain of salt. I think we've all like gone in and launched campaigns and be like, all right, I'm at the high end of the suggested bid. No impressions. Like, oh, I guess bids are higher than I thought. Or consequently, sometimes, you know, cost per clicks are much lower than you thought they'd be. So, suggested bids are simply a benchmark, but it is kind of helpful to track those things over time to say like, when might potentially the costs go down. Two reasons why costs go up, by the way. One is just market competition. Everybody's like, wow, I want to rank really well on gifts for her, right? Like that one got super competitive recently. But the other reason why costs go up is simply the increase in the clicks. Oftentimes what will happen is like we won't even adjust bids, but it's very possible for ad spend to go up exponentially just because there's way more people shopping on the platform. So fun fact, if you ever see like a spike in ad spend and you're like, why did this go up? You can actually look at two different metrics over time inside your campaign manager. Look, because your ad spend can be calculated by your clicks multiplied by your cost per click. And so it's either cost per clicks went up or the amount of clicks went up. And a lot of times this time of year, the reason why your ad spend increased was simply because there was more clicks on the platform versus you actually like doing anything with the bids. So, I would look at that. So again, not sure if that answers the question. Sometimes I kind of half answer questions. So feel free to leave a follow-up comment if you like. Okay, great to know. Alex said, consider it done. Would love to pick your brain on this. But thank you. I appreciate the question. Yeah. Hopefully it helped. Yeah. So for anyone else answering, looks like we got through the first 30 minutes. So congrats all. Thanks everyone for staying tuned and listening in. For anyone who possibly might have just joined us or is going, if you're interested, feel free to drop your Amazon ad question in the chat, which, by the way, I am going to be going live with these every Thursday, except for you will not see me next Thursday because I am going to be with family. It is Thanksgiving on Thursday. So, and then we're going to be going into Black Friday, which is going to be fun. Here is a great question. One of my products is having a high cost per click, 1.8 pounds, while the product price is under 10 pounds. Even a single click eats up my whole profits. Yes, it is entirely possible. I mean, so my question would be like, is there any keywords that you can get a lower cost per click on? That would be my goal. So whenever it's like a problem, it's like, all right, what's the actual problem? The problem is that high cost per clicks are eating all the margins. So then the thing is like, okay, can I get low cost per clicks? I would just prioritize anything that works. So in these scenarios where you're like, I have nothing that works, I look for anything that's working. Sometimes it's one thing, and it's going to go against all conventional wisdom because I'm telling you launch strategies, right? Exact match, super relevant, high bids, right? Like that's the ideal situation that those things work. However, if you are in these situations, sometimes you're like, can I get anything to work? Sometimes that's auto campaigns. Sometimes that's broad match campaigns. Sometimes it's some other ad type that you've heard is not the ideal one to rank a product on. And that would be correct, right? You don't really want to use aggressive auto campaigns to rank products. You don't want to really use aggressive broad match campaigns to rank products. Like that's not the ideal. It's not ideal to only ever have product targeting that works. However, if you're kind of like stuck between this rock and a hard place, sometimes you can just try and pivot and see if like, is there anything that I can get for a cost per click that makes sense for my product? And then maybe you work on that and you get better reviews, or the conversion rates of the products increase, or you have something that allows you to maybe get things for that higher cost per click. So yeah, I would at this point, I would be like, I would just be looking for anything regardless of what the structure looks like that can get me something at some kind of visibility at a lower cost per click. That would be my priority. And sometimes it surprises you. Sometimes it's like product targeting crushes it. And you're like, I don't know, my keywords aren't working, but product targeting is working. So goal is just to find something that works at this point. Let's see. Yeah, obviously it says there is no such search term that has a low cost per click, or on every search term is having 1.5 pounds. Yeah, have you tried broad match keywords? Have you tried low bid category targeting? Okay, so here's the thing, right? Why don't you try using broad match, auto campaigns, a bunch of product targeting, and just put it at a low bid? See if anything works. See if anything gets an impression. Worst case scenario, it gets no impressions and you didn't spend any money anyways. Best case scenario, you find something that works. So you might just try and throw a whole bunch of stuff at the wall at low bids and just see if you can get anything to work at this point. And then again, if you're not getting impressions, you weren't getting those impressions anyways already. So I think it's worth a try. Yeah, Zebulon is asking about where can I learn PPC? He said I listen to podcasts on YouTube, but I need something more structured. Yeah, I have really yet to put out a full course. That's like a whole nother thing in and of itself. I would say like the best way, and honestly the way that I learned, is just if you watch, there are videos on YouTube that kind of have like an A to Z, like this is an A to Z on Amazon advertising. And yeah, it's going to be super basic. And yeah, it's not going to give you all the, crazy, kind of hack stuff. It's going to be super basic. But if you start with the basics and you start with just like a fundamental understanding of things, and then you just work your way up from there. That's honestly where I would start. If I had to do it over again, I would do it probably the same way. Although if you can, sometimes you can pay for a course that's helpful. Yeah, so if anyone else has any Amazon ad questions, feel free to type them in the chat. Which, by the way, let me see. If anyone would like to get notified of these lives, I'm going to type a link in the chat. Give me 1 second. But what I did is I actually put together we have a Google Calendar, so that's how we're doing it now. Maybe we'll get a little more sophisticated in a little bit, but as of right now, if you would like to get notified of future lives, I'm going to drop this in the chat, and you feel free to add that Google Calendar. And what that will allow you to do is get notified. And what I do is I post the links to these. I post the links to these live pages on the Google Calendar, which then you can at least get notified and you can make sure to be able to join in the future. So again, I just have that link for now. Maybe we'll do a much better job of promoting. We shall see. But for right now, and we have them booked out until I think our next one is going to be on December. And it looks like it's on the 30th. Will be our next live. Cool. We're about almost 40 minutes in. If anyone else has any Amazon ad questions, feel free to type them in the chat. But if we're good, we might be ending this early. We'll see. Yeah, this is a good one. Here's a question. How can we customize launch strategy for each product? Like, what are the metrics that you would look for before conducting an ad strategy, and whether launching or while launching or going into a product, going in on. Okay, so I said it before, I said it again. I probably should redo the video because honestly, it's a little bit long. It's about an hour long, but the video on our YouTube channel about doing keyword research specifically for product launch. So what I like to evaluate in the beginning is what is the, again, the highest relevancy, high volume search term for the products. The hardest products to launch, to be honest, are the ones where there is no relevant keyword to the product, meaning, unique thing of Amazon advertising is that you are not generating demand. You're simply harnessing demand that is already on the platform. Now, the beauty about Amazon is they have created an immense amount of demand, and that is why selling on Amazon is like a phenomenal retail platform. That being said, if there is no one searching for your particular product, it's going to be really hard to get eyeballs on that product. The other thing that makes it kind of difficult is if there is relevant search volume, but it's only concentrated on, say, like 1, maybe 2 keywords, that can get super tricky. And if you wanted to figure out a sort of forecast for cost launches, again, Helium 10, I believe Jungle Scout as well, maybe some other keyword research tools. We primarily use Helium 10. It's kind of like an OG, still good keyword research tool, and they have Amazon's suggested keyword bids in there. So actually what you can do if you're trying to figure out like what's my launch ACoS going to be, or how much is it going to cost me to make a sale, right? What you can do is you're going to have to rough average forecast, right? But you can take 1 divided by the product's conversion rate. So product was, say, we're going to guess at a 10% conversion rate. So it's 1 divided by 0.1, and that's going to give you 10. So, okay, on average, it's going to take us 10 clicks to be able to generate an order. And if you're saying the average cost per click is going to be $1, well, then on average, it's going to take us $10 to be able to generate one order for the product so I can get an idea of what the cost is going to be for that one keyword. And then you can kind of extrapolate that out across the rest of the keywords for your space. So that might be, if you're looking to, like, say, customize launch strategy for a product, that might be a good way to do it, and looking at potential, like, say, cost forecasting for the tool. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, let me know. Sorry, taking drinks here, trying to get caffeinated, stay having energy, and also save my voice a little bit. So yeah, if you got an Amazon ad question, feel free to drop it in the chat, which, by the way, we are live, so this is going to be replayed on any streaming channels, but I think primarily YouTube is probably going to be the easiest ones to be able to launch on. So if I hopefully said something interesting, or if you need to catch the replay of these things, you can always do so on our channel. All right. Mike has a question. Running auto campaign, my bids are above the Amazon suggested and generating 0 impressions. Do you know why that is? Am I still getting outbid? What do you suggest? Yeah, that's kind of interesting to do it on an auto campaign. Question would be, is this a new product? And are you generating impressions on any other products? Any other advertising for this product? Or is this like the first one you've set out and you can't get any impressions for it? If you aren't generating impressions on any other keywords, it could be due to, like, the indexation of the product, meaning Amazon's not 100% sure. I would also go and check the ad view inside the campaign, just to make sure that the products are showing eligible and delivering and everything. Like, check the campaign level, check the ad group level to see if it's delivering, check the product level to see if it's delivering, and then also check the targeting level to make sure everything's delivering. And then if everything's working, I would say I would just try increasing the bid, really. That's pretty much the default answer, but that's because it's like the primary thing to check. Yeah, although I agree with you, it being an auto campaign, it's a little bit strange that it's not getting any impressions, because typically those are like the easiest ones to get impressions on. But yeah, I would say, like, adjust the bids and check all those levels to make sure everything is active. Sometimes things get, like, flagged and you weren't aware of it, so potentially check that as well. Cool, rocking right along here. We got about 15 minutes left. If anyone has any additional Amazon ad questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. But yep, hopefully these are informative for anyone listening in. And hopefully they are informative for those of you who are catching the replay. And then if you're catching the replay, I don't believe the comments show, so I will make sure to post that calendar link in the description as well. So anyone listening in can make sure that you are able to catch any of our future lives. But if there is no more Amazon ad questions, then I might end this a little bit early. Again, save my voice. It feels like I'm losing my voice a little bit. But anyways, yeah, these have been amazing questions. I appreciate everyone. I wish you all a fabulous and productive Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Look forward to the holiday weekend myself. And then I will be back, so not next Thursday, but the following Thursday, same time, same place, to answer any Amazon ad questions. If you have any questions, make sure you write them down, and I will make sure that you get your answers. So anyways, I appreciate everyone joining. This has been absolutely wonderful, and I will see you all in the next one.